Everyone wants to have their very own Minecraft Forever world that they can expand upon with each playthrough, seeing their world grow from a small starter house to a collection of builds, each with their own unique appearance and story. Well, the idea sounds great, getting your world to actually reach this level is much easier said than done. See, once people have completed Minecraft's simple progression system, they're no longer told what to do, shifting their focus from survival aspects of the game to focusing primarily on building their world. But the issue many players face is that once they've built all the necessary staples of a survival world, like their house, their wheat farm, and even XP farms, it can be hard to figure out what they should build next. And I get it. Figuring out something you actually want to build in a sea of endless possibilities can lead to you feeling overwhelmed and stuck. And while I could straight up give you build ideas, I think the better focus is methods to help you decide what you actually want to build. So I'm going to share a variety of different tools and processes you can use to help you decide what to build in your Minecraft Forever world. Let's get into it. When coming up with build ideas, the first thing you need to clarify is whether or not your world has a theme or an overarching goal. For example, you can decide if you want your world to be one medieval fantasy world or a world consisting of a collection of vastly different cities, each with their own different ideas. If your world has a theme, you're going to want future builds to contribute to said theme. For example, if your world is medieval and you want to make a giant ship in the ocean, you're going to want to make an older wooden style boat. But if you don't have a specific theme or goal for your world, you could basically make whatever you want and mix and match different aesthetics as much as you like. So if you have a castle right next to the ocean and you feel like making a boat, you could make a yacht if you wanted. And for those of you with a theme, don't worry, the tips will still apply all the same. Another quick little tidbit I want to mention is to always carry a book and quill on you, so whenever you get an idea while playing, you can write it down in the book and come back to it later when you're looking for some ideas. With that out of the way, let's get into some actual methods you can use. Now, one of my most common tips for coming up with build ideas is to make separate builds for each specific functional block, but there's only so many functional blocks in the game. So what happens when you run out? Well, I like to give my builds a function not by the rules of Minecraft, but by real world logic. What I mean by this is that if you want to build that big pirate ship in your ocean, it's going to need somewhere to dock, which means you need to build a dock or harbor for the ships to come in and out of. Another simple example would be building a castle wall around your village to keep the interior separated from the dangers of the outside world. Under the Minecraft logic, all you'd have to do is surround the town with fences and then light up the inside. But in reality, these fences wouldn't keep anybody out, while a castle wall would. It'd be much harder to climb. And on the theme of reality, the real world is a great place to take inspiration from. There are tons of different buildings and monuments from the real world that could be replicated in Minecraft. You could build a monument like the Statue of Liberty, you could try and build Disney World, or you could even try to do something as simple as building your own house or apartment building. And if you're trying to stick to a theme, which I'm gonna keep using medieval as a reference, there are plenty of real world castles and chapels you could try to build in your world. Trying to build a landmark from the real world can be a ton of fun and is a great way to stay motivated when building, as the build may be more personal to you if it's a location you've actually been to or frequently visit in your day-to-day life. You know what else would be great? If you've enjoyed this video whatsoever, do me the favor of liking this video and subscribing so you never miss out on another video just like this one. It's completely free and helps me out quite a bit, so thank you. Another way to come up with build ideas for your world that is super simple is literally just looking at what other people are making in their own worlds. You can look at YouTube videos of other people's worlds or even YouTube tutorials. You can look on websites like Pinterest or in Minecraft communities on Discord. You could even join Minecraft servers, whether it's a survival server or taking inspiration from the crazy builds in the lobbies. Taking inspiration from other people's builds is the easiest way to not only figure out what to build in your own world, but to motivate you to build, as you're gonna see an image of what your world could potentially look like in the future. The next method that can help you find inspiration for your next build is by taking a look at some of your favorite pieces of media. Similarly to replicating real-world locations, you can also try and recreate structures or locations from your favorite pieces of fiction. This can include movies, television shows, other video games you frequently play, comic books, etc. This can allow for some really unique builds, and this can be as big or small as you want it. You can make one house from your favorite show, or you could recreate the whole town. Yet again, if you're doing a theme, you could take inspiration from a show or movie within the same genre as your world. So for medieval, you could try and replicate a location from media like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. Now, I will say I haven't personally gotten around to building anything from my favorite media in my own world, but I would really like to in the future. Specifically, I'd like to build SpongeBob, Squidward, and Patrick's house underwater in my world. Although it hasn't happened yet, it most definitely will. It's actually been sitting on my task board for quite some time. Now, for the next method, I want you to ask yourself the question, is there something you wish Mojang would add to the game but just hasn't yet? Well, there's your next build idea. If there's something you've been wanting to see come to the game, but it just doesn't seem likely, build it. You could build a new structure you've been hoping for, you could do some terraforming to create a biome that isn't currently in the game, or you could even make a giant statue of a mob you've been wanting to see added. This is personally the method that I think is the most fun, as it prompts you to create some really unique and creative results. It's also a very different approach to a build. I know so many people want to see something like an end update, so why not go into the end and actually make your own custom biomes yourself while you wait for the update to actually happen. Speaking of creative results, another method that prompts some out-of-the-box thinking is by challenging yourself to build with only certain colors or certain blocks. You could put a bunch of different block types or colors into a randomizer and get it to pick a primary, secondary, and third block or color for you to use. And then the challenge would be to build something using exclusively what the randomizer provided for you. This isn't as much of a way to come up with build ideas, but it will definitely give you some new build results, as you could build another simple house like you have in the past, but with a completely different set of blocks, giving you something different than anything you've made prior. A method for coming up with new build ideas that applies especially well to forever worlds are builds that honor your world's history and progression. What I mean by this is making builds dedicated to certain milestones in your world, or to signify items or events that feel important to the history of your forever world, and then you can mark the date on a sign. This could be done in a multitude of ways. One way, which I frequently mention in videos, is building a museum to store all the rare items you collect throughout your playthrough, and storing stuff like your first ever pickaxe. But it could also be a build to specifically hold the Ender Dragon egg and Ender Dragon head to mark the significance of when you defeated the Ender Dragon. You can make something like a graveyard for all the pets and villagers that die throughout your time playing, adding to it each time a significant mob has an unfortunate demise, and you could really go deep into this idea and build things like monuments. At each location you use a totem of undying to mark each time you've come close to death. A forever world lasts a really long time, preferably forever. I mean, that's why it's called a forever world, so making builds that represent specific eras of your world and growth is very fitting. And that brings me to my last method, which I'll say is more targeted towards players with fairly developed worlds, and that is taking a look at some of your older builds that you feel are lacking and trying to either build them again with the knowledge and building skills you've acquired since you built it originally, or tearing it down and just rebuilding it altogether. This can, one, help you take parts of your world that you previously felt were subpar and bring them up to standard with the rest of your world, but it's also a way to see how much your skill has improved over time. I frequently find myself going back to old builds to touch them up, or remaking builds that I just feel are out of place when compared to my current building style. Coming up with things to build in your Minecraft Forever world isn't hard, but knowing what you actually want to build can be more difficult, and I think some of these methods can really help you decide what will actually add to your world and what builds you'll actually be excited and inspired to make. But guys, those are just a few methods I would recommend using if you're struggling to decide what to build in your Minecraft Forever world. If this video helped you guys out whatsoever, a like is greatly appreciated, as well as subscribing to ensure you never miss out on another video just like this one. It helps me out quite a lot, so thank you. I now also have a Discord too, which I'll link in the description and pinned comment below if you want to get the chance to chat with me a bit more. But guys, that's really it for this video. I hope this was able to help you find some inspiration for your next project or next big build in your Minecraft Forever world. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.